Good evening, and welcome to our Monday Night Live. And we're continuing our discussion on hypertension. It's the third part in our series, looking at this very important topic. And want to just acknowledge everyone who has been able to join us. So let us begin with a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for the opportunity to come together to learn. We pray that we will have our minds open to understand what you want to share with us. And we thank you for your love. This is our prayer. In Jesus' name, amen. Right, I'm speaking to you from Pure Wellness Lifestyle Center, all the way in Las Lomas, Trinidad and Tobago, but located on the island of Trinidad. If you've not been here before, then we encourage you to consider to come out and to experience the joys and the blessing of what God has in store for each of us. And just by way of highlight, we concluded a session just recently, and there was, there were a couple of individuals, and they experienced their healing and accomplished and achieved their goals, and they were quite excited, as they departed and gave God thanks. There's one that sort of stands out. I just want to share this with you. So let me just send this. Okay. All right. Let me just share. It's really short, but you could, sort of see what our guest was so excited about. All right. So this is Miss Akila, and this is what she said many things, but we just captured this one as well. Oh my. Forgot to unmute myself. Here you go.
Not forgetting in my 11 days, well, tomorrow is still one more day to go. I've lost 6 pounds and 1 inch off my waistline. Yeah.
All right. Okay, wonderful. So we were quite happy for her. And, she met many of her goals, met one of the things that works really well when you see that you have issues with your knees and hips. We had folks with such situations. So we couldn't go out to walk much in the open spacing, but we were able to use the pool. And that sort of helped a lot to be in the water and moving your limbs. And one of the things, as if you're challenged with your joints and you don't exercise, you don't get blood coming to that area, and helping you to improve on your situation. But if you did, then that's going to make a huge difference. And in that way, you have more nutrients going to your joints, and it begins to work better for you. You have less pain, and that is tremendous. So the less pain you have, the more you're able to do. And so find water wherever you are, be it a pool or whether it is in the ocean, and the sea. Once you can move your limbs without actually touching the floor, it can give you some relief, and you'll be able to do quite a lot. And another point to note is that there are times when you can move your arms. So I've been talking to individuals and letting them know that when they have a situation, just a second. Yeah, when they have a situation going on with their legs and they're not able to move their limbs as they would like to, their legs, but they can move their arms. And so you can be literally seated and you can work your arms, moving your arms as if you're walking your arms. And that works a lot too to help improve the blood circulation, as well as even to lose weight if that's something that you need to do. Sometimes folks have back issues and they're unable to do all of that walking. So moving your arms, and you can time yourself, do a 30 minutes, it still works and it still helps tremendously to count as exercise and exercise benefit. So just sharing that little pointer with you. All right, so let's get back to our presentation. Hey, so just a little disclaimer, the information provided in this presentation is not intended to substitute for professional or personalized medical treatment or advice. And so we are not replacing your healthcare provider, and information is for educational purposes. And therefore, we have discussion to help with your understanding, and always, be under the supervision of a health personnel, a health professional, especially if you have a condition. And one of the things I want to emphasize is to make sure that you have a proper diagnosis. There are many times individuals are diagnosing themselves, or they just fill out some information on an app and it says, oh, you may have such and such, or they go for some types of interventions and gadgets that will tell them certain things about themselves, and they take that for gospel that they do have this particular condition. No, that's not a way to go. Get under the care of a doctor, a physician. Even if you were to come to me, I'll send you for some blood work. And let's do some blood work, see what your numbers are. And if there's need for further intervention, investigation, or referral, I will definitely support you in doing that. Or call up some institution or a colleague or someone and say, look, want to send this person across to you. Please have a look at their condition. Okay, a number of folks are self-diagnosing, and it's not good because don't just do that in isolation. Get a second opinion. Make sure that you're working and treating with the right thing and in the right way. One of the things that I also tell individuals is don't jump out of the public system. If you're there, go attend the clinics and keep your appointments and so forth. In that way, you're able to get the tests, because tests and examinations and investigation for your situation could be expensive if you did it privately. So stay within the public system if you're there, wherever you're at, so that you can get a support for further testing, monitoring as you go along. So you can be doing natural things. And what are natural things? Making sure that you're exercising, drinking lots more water, getting your rest at night, pure air, fresh air, getting your sunlight, all of those things, adjusting and correcting your diet. So many other things that you can do. So, and then look at your nutritional panel and check for any deficiencies and see, where you would need to work on consuming certain foods and getting different types of nutrients. And we do have the herbal botanical areas that we would look at. So we're looking at a more integrative approach where you're able to know your diagnosis accurately, and alongside your visits and so forth to your medical professional, that you're still doing something, and there are lots that you can do. So let's not just work in isolation. God has given us all talents for purposes. So our topic of discussion is on hypertension. And good evening, Sister Princess. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so hypertension, one nation under pressure. And we discuss what is hypertension. You can go back to part 1 of this series, then part 2, and here we are on part 3. Now, we're still under the bit of causes. What can be some causes? And we'd move straight on into the diet and dietary causes and the dietary changes. So overweight. What if someone is overweight? Nearly everyone who is significantly overweight will eventually experience high blood pressure. So your risk is increased as long as you're over your weight limit. And so the heart must pump blood through an added mile of capillaries for every extra pound of weight above normal. And so if your weight, it's depending on your height, and you have your average weight, what it should be, your height. So if you got over that, for every extra pound, your heart has to pump harder. So obviously, it's going to put a strain on your heart, and that can lead to increasing your blood pressure. So losing weight can help even 2/3 of individuals to lower their blood pressure. And so as the weight reduces, not only is blood pressure reduced, but so many other issues that you may be experiencing and not recognizing its connection to the overweight. For example, indigestion. As your weight reduces and gets back to normal, your indigestion can be corrected. Once you have extra fat on the body, you find that certain organs and blood vessels, there tend to be some compression on them, and therefore you have some situations going on. So in blood pressure, weight needs to be reduced and get closer to the normal weight. Now, potassium deficiency, and what that can be another cause if you are deficient in your potassium levels. So potassium is necessary for the heart, the kidneys, and other organs to work normally. So we do need these nutrients within our body. And so potassium, a diet low in potassium intake can lead to high blood pressure. Okay, so therefore, let's correct. Get foods that are rich in potassium. For example, bananas, potatoes, broccoli, tomatoes, orange juice, for example, the oranges. So these are ways in which you can increase your potassium intake. Here we have a picture of the unsulfured blackstrap molasses is another excellent way, not only for increasing potassium, but for calcium, magnesium, and copper. So you have some great benefits in here, iron and so on. However, if someone is diabetic, that person would not be able to use molasses. So if the person is hypertensive and diabetic at the same time, nope, no molasses for that individual. The person can have bananas, soybean, and even nuts and seeds. So stress is another factor. And just to remind you, if you do have questions, please post your questions in the chat as we go along, or simply raise your hand and we would be able to acknowledge you and take your question. So another cause for high blood pressure is stress. And that's a common question that I would ask my clients. Are you stressed? And many times the answer is yes. And they are stressed and it's taking a toll on individuals. So in many ways, so if you're stressed, you find that you might be eating comfort foods, and that could account for your obesity. If you are stressed, then you're hyped up. Your hormones are sort of hyped, and that can account for your increased blood pressure. Stress can play itself out in so many ways. You're really intense about whatever you're stressed about, and your blood pressure goes up. So there's a need for you to reduce the stress. We cannot live without stress entirely. We do have a measure of stress. I mean, just stress has the positive and the negative aspects of it. And it's a negative aspect that we're looking at that we want to drive down. The good stress, but then all things in temperance, you don't want to have too much. I mean, you may be super excited that you got your driver's license today, but don't be overly, anxious as you want to deliver that message, or you're driving down the road and you do some awkward thing. Okay, so let's seek to manage that. And we do have previous presentations on stress. So if you go to our YouTube channel, you'll be able to find it there. Now, stress can make your blood pressure increase. Your adrenal gland can engorge or increase in its function. That adrenal gland sits right above your kidneys, and it tends to release those stress hormones like your adrenaline, epinephrine, and so forth. And so the thymus gland and the lymph glands, they tend to shrink in a stressful situation. And they also can trigger high amounts of cortisol that in turn can increase your blood pressure. So all of these factors can cause your blood pressure to rise. Creatinine, it's an element that is produced by your kidneys. And creatinine, a waste product of metabolic processes in muscle cells. So as your muscle cells work, you're lifting, you're moving your muscles, a waste product of all of that, gets squeezed out and into your blood and the creatinine. And so the kidneys tend to filter creatinine out of the blood. That's get you creatinine out of the blood. Kidneys take it, and that's expelled in your urine. And so you can have a urine test and see what's going on there. Urine tests can tell us so many things about what we are excreting in adequate amounts or excess amounts or not. And therefore, if the kidneys isn't working well to remove that creatinine from our bloodstream, you take a blood test and you find that the creatinine level is high. And it's not good to have, because then you tend to find that your body can retain fluid. That can put a pressure and burden on your heart. It can also, it's in the bloodstream, so it can affect different areas. It could also lead to a stroke and heart disease, heart attack. So we want our creatinine to be within safe ranges. And if you do have a kidney issue, that would be something to look at. Now, interestingly, that the high blood pressure could create kidney problems. And because, again, that pressure is high, even to those small blood vessels within the kidneys, and vice versa. If you have a kidney issue, it can impact your heart rate and your blood pressure. Insulin. Insulin is also another factor that comes into play. Studies show that excess insulin can contribute to the hardening of the arteries, as it causes the body to produce too much cholesterol. And that in turn can cause your blood pressure to increase. So excess amount of insulin can and is linked to increased blood pressure. Insulin also encourages the body to retain sodium in the kidneys, and that could account for high blood pressure. Your blood pressure increased because of the sodium being too high. So with high blood pressure, sodium elevated, blood pressure will be elevated. Potassium decreased and too low, and you find your blood pressure could be increased. Okay, so you need your potassium and your sodium levels within the right range. Now, there are some other causes to look at, and processed foods. Now, processed food is when you have food that is not in its whole form. And a simple thing as, say, almond milk. If you have your almonds, that is a whole food. But your almond milk is a processed food. So that we do process it ourselves. You take your almonds and you blend that, you're actually processing it. So we want to watch our processing of foods and have moderate amounts of those of that which is good, but totally abstaining that which is bad. And so you may have processed foods, like ice cream, for example, that can elevate your blood pressure. And so we watch and see what we're consuming. Now, you have certain individuals, they go to the doctor for their medical checkup, and their blood pressure is sort of measured, and it's high. And they say, wow, your blood pressure is high, and they take a note. And they immediately want to help you to lower it, and probably with some medication. But do you really need that med? So what they should do is to ask, have you been getting these readings? Maybe you don't even know because you've never tested regularly, but it's of concern. And so they may ask you to come back and do another test, or to go to a local pharmacy and get a test and see what numbers you've been getting. But there are individuals who may be hypertensive, but every time they go to the doctor's office, it's super high, but at home, it's not. So it's very important that as you take your blood pressure reading early morning when you wake up, and at night before you go to bed, you take your pressure reading and you log that, and take that with you to your doctor every time you're going. Take that chart with you, take that book with you. I have clients that will come to me and I'm like flipping pages through their books because they're logging their blood pressure. So we want to see a trend. And thankfully, you know, those trends tend to reduce as natural remedies are implemented. Now, talking loud and talking too much talking and talking loudly can elevate the blood pressure, especially negative talking. Negative talking, if you're passionate about what you're saying, and that just gets you so annoyed and uptight and angry. Oh, the heart starts to beat faster, and your blood is pumping through your veins and your arteries faster. And what do you think is going up? Your blood pressure. Is it worth it? Is it really worth it? So if you know that you're hypertensive, peace, be still, you know, and please be still. Let's choose our conversations. Let's choose what we will engage in, and take care of yourself. You know, your health matters and your well-being matters. So let's not engage in too much talk and negative talking and loud talking. You know, be calm. So listen more and talk less. And that's going to be quite helpful to you. And tell yourself you're making your choices. You're choosing what you want to address and what you're going to leave alone. Now, your age, as individuals age, their blood pressure apparently goes up for many reasons. They go through hormonal changes. They have abused the body for so many years longer. So there are some things you recognize that you could have gotten away with when you were younger, but now as you're older, you can't do those same things anymore, like eat certain things and go to bed and sleep. Your chest is going to burn you with heartburn. You know, your pressure is going to be elevated. So, you know, when you engage in certain activities. So as you age, you tend to need some more caution. And then your family history might tell you that you are more prone to be hypertensive. Therefore, you got to watch what's happening in your life, and what's happening in your family need not happen to you. Another thing is that you look at the history of yourself. So there are individuals where they look at their past life. And if they've had a hard life in their early years, it might given some impact on their present health situation. So that's always something to bear in mind, or even their endurance levels that may not be as robust as, so we are all different. So pay attention to that. And then you have your race. We're told that in the Black community, high blood pressure is tends to be elevated. And there's several reasons for that. And you know, but diet, lifestyle, once on the good path, you need not fall into these dictates. Hormonal imbalance, just having, getting into the stage of perimenopause and menopause, a lot of things happen to the ladies and even to the men. Men may go into having hormonal imbalance. I watch some of the men and see, well, okay, so I talk to them, right, when did you start noticing your blood pressure to be high? And okay, from the time I hit 60 or whatever it might be, and you're just watching, just about that time, your hormones are changing too, men. And therefore, we need to work on balancing your hormones with some simple things. Sunlight deficiency, going to bed late at night, having disturbed sleep, individuals having urinary incontinence and not being able to sleep through the night. Once your sleep is disturbed, you have a new baby. You're taking care of someone who is ailing. You have company with you in the room and you're not accustomed to having such. You know, so many factors can influence that blood pressure going up. So even the hormones need to be balanced. And getting certain foods in, such as like flaxseed, tofu can help to give you more phytoestrogen, because estrogen tends to keep the blood pressure down and more within the normal range. But as your estrogen levels begins to lower because you're getting advanced in years past your 50s, and ladies getting into menopause, you see your blood pressure come up too. Just simply take things like black cohosh, your flaxseed. You can also do tofu and organic tofu, and those can help to give you more estrogen within your system and balance those hormones and keep your blood pressure within good range. Now, diabetes, several reasons. If you're diabetic, there tends to be an association with high blood pressure, with high cholesterol levels. The foundation, the cores, the high-fat foods that you're eating, the lifestyle where you're not getting adequate amounts of sleep, of exercise, of movement and sunlight and so forth, those are consistent with having high glucose levels as well as high blood pressure. And so the cause can be the same, and to reverse and correct will be the same. Vitamin D deficiency is connected here as well as sunlight deficiency. So it's one thing you can sit and pop pills and take a vitamin D supplement, but not getting the sunlight makes a huge difference. Inadequate sleep, at night we talked about that. Competitive sports and activities, and where folks get so excited about cricket and football or soccer and basketball games, and they are jumping up and down and shouting, and their stress levels increase. Their heart is like pumping out of their chest. They don't need to be playing, but they are just a spectator, and they are a great fan. And your blood pressure can go up. I challenge you, if you have high blood pressure, check it before a game, during a game, and after a game, and see where that reading is at. So we also have drug-induced hypertension. You know that all drugs do have side effects, and therefore one of those side effects very well may be high blood pressure. Intestinal permeability or leaky gut tends to create a lot of bacteria, pathogenic bacteria within your bloodstream, and that gets into your arteries, your blood vessels, and can cause inflammation in your arteries, and that can account for increased blood pressure. So ensuring that we have good gut health is important. So you may find that I'll recommend, things like probiotic, digestive enzymes, betaine, HCl as ways and means to help to correct your gut health. Now, dietary risk factors, here is one. Elevated homocysteine levels can increase your risk for heart disease on a whole. And so homocysteine is a naturally occurring amino acid that's found within your blood plasma, but it tends to increase when individuals consume animal protein and they have insufficient fruits and vegetables. So if you put out a plate of food and day after day, you're not eating adequate amounts of fruit, you're not eating adequate amounts of vegetables, at least 3 to 5 servings of vegetables and fruits, you could make that with ease. If you had your banana, even one banana or 2 bananas, an apple, you have oranges, you have your watermelon, a bowl of watermelon, you have your cantaloupes, you have honeydew, kiwis, different fruits, variety, pineapples over time. Every day, what is my fruit? What fruit did I have today? Fruits, plural. And then what vegetables have I had today? Did I have my broccoli, my cauliflower, my cabbage, did I have spinach? Did I have our callaloo or our dasheen bush, for those of you who know what that is? And what leaves, green leafy, did you have? And did I have, any of those items? Did I have lettuce? So if you cannot recount and recollect that you had that, then that's not good. And day after day after day, nope, that's not good. You need more of these within your bloodstream in order to help us to achieve good health. So here we're looking at homocysteine, a diet where you have animal protein, your fish, your chicken, your turkey, you're having your milk, your cheese, your butter, your eggs, and you're not having your tomatoes and cucumbers and your vegetables and so forth in enough proportions, you can run into a problem. Your homocysteine level can be elevated. And even if you're deficient in B6, folic acid, and B12. So getting your range of B vitamins, getting an balanced diet can reduce your risk factors for heart attacks, for stroke, for blood clots, and even for high blood pressure. And this is real, and the folks who will get a heart attack and they're eating, are healthy, but not in variety and not in good proportions. Now, caffeine is, all right, let's see. Oh my, where someone is asking way back a question, where can blackstrap molasses be found? Look for it in a health food store. Usually they may have. So just keep looking and asking. Now, caffeine is another one that can cause your blood pressure to go up. So 1 cup of coffee daily will raise your blood pressure by 5 to 6 points. 1 cup. And there may be individuals who are having 5, 6, 9 cups in a day. That's so much, and too many cups and putting you at risk for increased blood pressure. So caffeine needs to be removed from that. What else does caffeine do? It increases your heart rate. So your heart starts to pump harder, beat faster, and therefore your blood pressure is forcing blood to move faster. Your blood pressure will be elevated. If caffeine is consumed before or during exercise, you will see a rise in blood pressure and increased heart rate. Now, where else do we find coffee? Not only in a cup, caffeine. You find caffeine not only in a cup of coffee, you also find caffeine in energy drinks, in energy supplements. Look for the label caffeine in any form. And you may have a coffee cake, so if you have that caffeine intake, and a lot of folks would go to the energy drinks, especially they're on the playing field and they want to score well and they want to have energy to work 2 jobs. These are real examples, I'm telling you. And to stay up at night to study, to stay up at night to work, all of these things are real. And when you have this caffeine and you're taking these energy drinks, you're putting a burden on your blood vessels, you're putting a burden on your kidneys, and that will elevate your blood pressure. Now, here's what the very thing that's causing you need to remove that energy drink from your intake or energy supplement that may have caffeine in it. Remove that and stop consuming it, and your body just calms down and relaxes, and these organs go back into their normal state. So, but you don't want to put yourself at risk, number one, and get to the point where it's too much for your system and even cause damage now to your organs. Caffeine can increase the cardiovascular event during an exercise. I've known of individuals taking energy drinks, going and play football and drop down on the field. Okay, that has happened. Take a look. Chocolate, cocoa powder, Ovaltine, Milo. Don't you see the Milo gives you energy to go, go, go? Then chocolate Nesquik and all of that with the Energizer Bunny. All of those things have caffeine in them. They not only give you that energy for your legs to go faster, but your heart will go faster. And as you get older in years, it takes a toll on the body. Your blood pressure is going to be elevated. So let's see. Okay. All right. And stimulating drinks or foods. Let's take a look. Alcohol. 1 to 2 ounces of alcohol can significantly elevate the blood pressure. And okay, so someone is asking, what about sodas? Yes, we do have some stimulating drinks coming up, and soda is definitely one of them with the high glucose levels in there that can be quite stimulating. Look, it's right here, carbonated drinks. Okay, so looking at the alcohol, so 1 to 2 ounces, small amount of alcohol you're drinking and regularly, that can account for increasing your blood pressure. Your carbonated drinks will also do that. Carbonated drinks tends to pull oxygen from your bloodstream. And the less oxygen you have, you're going to just cause a burden on your heart. It's trying to pump, but you're not getting the lifeblood going around your system. So certain organs are going to be starved, start having reduced oxygen levels, and therefore the function is going to go off. So we want to watch carbonated drinks, not only for the sugar, but understanding the impact on our health with oxygen levels being depleted. Amazingly, I see individuals with respiratory issues and drinking soda, carbonated drinks. And that's going to be a problem all the way around. Now, smoking cigarettes can elevate the blood pressure for the next 30 minutes. Okay, so if you're a smoker and then you come, check my blood pressure, please, it's going to show an elevation above what might be already elevated for the course of the next 30 minutes. All these fumes inside of your body and causing a problem. Spices, hot peppers, tend to be problematic individuals who are accustomed to adding pepper to their food. Meal after meal, in your sandwiches, in your plate of food, you're adding pepper to your food. Here's something to note. Anything that stimulates elevates. Okay, a one-liner. Anything that stimulates elevates. Stimulation to the body will elevate your blood pressure. So your pepper, your high chilies, spices, and so forth, your condiments that has vinegar in it, and you use that up, it will give chemical reactions that can elevate the blood pressure. So watch that ketchup, the mustard, the salad dressing, anything that has vinegar in it, and it is related to and associated to elevate blood pressure. So right away, you can see, as you start removing these things from your life, put away the alcohol, put away the smoking, put away the sodas, put away the processed food, put away the spicy food, your blood pressure will come down. And let's get the blood pressure. Always tell yourself, my blood pressure is high. I'm not comfortable with that. I want to see my blood pressure within a normal range. I'm going to work towards seeing that come down to normal. And these things are items that we need to let go of. For some, it might seem hard, but your blood pressure being high puts you at risk for a cardiovascular event. That might be a stroke. That might be a heart attack. That is hard to come up against, and might have you in the emergency room, might have you out of breath. So how can you avoid being hypertensive if you have a hereditary tendency to hypertension? It's in my family. It's in my family history. Everyone has had it. Observing the health laws that governs your body can make a difference. Hereditary tendency is like having a loaded gun in your hand. Diet and lifestyle can pull that trigger and cause you to have problems. So by making these changes, it's personal. Again, you could be in a circle. Everyone has high blood pressure, but not you. So it's your own individual choice daily that can make a difference. Okay, so let's just look at the remedy to this blood pressure being elevated. What can we do? Now, there's a little principle that we like to look at in disease reversal, and that is if I came to your home and water is running out of this pipe here into the sink, and the sink is stopped, there's a stopper there, the sink is flowing all over, the water is filled and flowing all over the sink onto the floor, and you walked in and you're like, wow, look at this. What is the first thing that you're gonna do? What are you gonna do to get all of that cleaned up? Does anybody want to share? What would you do to get this cleaned up?
Turn off the faucet.
Right, to turn off the faucet. What else can we do? If we turn off the faucet, the water's still there. Huh?
Unplug the sink.
Very good. Unplug the sink. And what is the next item we need to do? Water on. Mop it up. Excellent. And that's the method that we're going to use in disease reversal. Turn off the faucet. Stop the source of the cause that's triggering your disease condition. So once we turn off that faucet, we stop feeding it, stop adding fuel to that inflammation, to that pain, to that discomfort, to that headache, to that elevated blood pressure. What can we do? And then you unplug the sink, and lastly, we mop it up. So we're going to turn off the faucet with our diet. Okay, diet, unplug the sink with our lifestyle, mop it up with the herbs and the leaves and certain food as medicine. Now, we encourage to use the natural option because drugs have side effects. Even all of your high blood pressure medication will have side effects. Sometimes it's increased glucose levels. And at the beginning of these presentations, we showed you a common water pill that's used for hypertension and a list of side effects that came along with it. So our drugs do have side effects, and we don't want to get those effects. Sometimes it might be indigestion, heartburn, that's going on, a dry cough even, and those things are so real that it can impact your life. So brain intelligence reduces, it's because it's been shown that some of the high blood pressure medication tends to shrink that the brain cells. And drugs do not drop the blood pressure low enough. And that's why folks are on the blood pressure repeatedly and for years. And we're simply just managing it. And if they were to come away from the blood pressure, it just bounces right back up. It's not correcting the hypertension. Your drug medication can be costly. Yeah, if you're not getting it free, it's costly. And drugs do not cure. You get a relief, but it doesn't bring healing. If it did bring healing, then so many individuals would have been healed already. They've been hypertensive for the past 15, 25 years and more. Did it bring healing at all? They were consistent with taking their medication. No, it did not bring healing. It just kept them shifting around from one medication to another, because as you begin to show some big side effects from one medication, you get shifted off to another med. And then when you've had enough of the side effect that's impacting you on that end, you get shifted to another, or you may have a combination, more than one hypertensive medication. So let's see, there are certain things that you can do. One of the things I tell folks, I do not take you off your medication because I did not put you on medication. That's between you and your physician. But there's certain things that you can do while you're at home, and let it be your goal. My goal is to help you to come off your medication in time. And your doctor is going to agree so well, because they're going to see your blood pressure reducing. And that's why take the log, write it down. So here's what you can do. You can turn off that faucet with the diet, the flesh foods that has homocysteine in it, that's elevating your blood pressure. The flesh foods that contributes to causing inflammation in your arteries, the cholesterol plaque deposits in your arteries, that is high in sodium. Though you don't think it, but all meat has sodium in it. All flesh foods has sodium in it in amounts that can elevate the blood pressure. So these things can be removed from the diet. Meat, not only does it elevate the blood pressure, but it does a whole lot more other things, putting us at risk for cardiovascular diseases, plural, and reducing our mental faculties. So eliminate all flesh and their byproducts from your diet. That means your chicken, your beef, your turkey, your crab, lobster, shrimp, your animal milk, your dairy. Yummy, deliciously good. Let's work on making our own pizza. We do that here at the center. We make our own pizza, make our own cheese, and do it in a way that's healthier for you to eat. So our guests, when they come to the center and we make pizza for them, they would eat and they would be fine, and their blood pressure will not go up. And they will eat the food that's prepared, and instead their blood pressure will be reduced, their glucose levels will be reduced, and they will be better off for it. So instead of drinking animal milk, let's make our own milk with almond nuts, for example. You can make oat milk. You can make quinoa milk. These are real milks that are sold in the supermarket. Yep, you can make it and it would be better for us. So let's get away from the animal. Within this milk comes the cholesterol, comes the fat that would increase your risk for disease. This is not natural to the body. These animal foods are not natural to the body. We were not created to eat that. We were created to eat plant foods. And therefore, as we remove these items and go back to our original diet, the body loves that, it knows it, and it would respond positively, and you can reverse your high blood pressure. So fried foods, when instead of frying this potato, let us boil, steam your potato. Instead, you can bake your potato, but we don't want to fry that potato. So the point is here that you can have a nice healthy potato, but how it's prepared can bring about these conditions that can hurt us. So let's work on getting our preparation of our food better. Oil. This is huge. So we're not using the oil for frying. You know, folks would be eating like plantain and so forth. No fried plantain. Let's steam the plantain. Let's bake the plantain. So easily to do. And remove the oil in our cooking. Remove the oil from drizzling it on our food, because that will cause your arteries to be inflamed and grow plaque deposits, narrowing that blood vessel and causing the blood pressure to be elevated. Once we start preparing our foods differently, what do you use instead of oil? Water. Especially if tonight you have a situation going on, your blood pressure is already high, and you already have one of those chronic conditions. Make the change. Consider making the change. You've been doing this all along and not knowing that it's been contributing to your disease state. So give yourself a good chance. Make the changes and watch and see God bless you for your efforts, and the healing comes to your body. So oil, even if it is olive oil, even if it's coconut oil, it's still highly processed. Oil doesn't grow on trees. These nice olives do. So we can eat the olives and you get adequate amount of fat in that. But to take the oil, no, that's excessive amount of fat for your body to deal with. Sugar, we want to leave the sugar out of our diet and use natural sugar instead. When you see you have sugar coming in, that again increases inflammation. So let's leave that out. We talked about peppers, so condiments, spices, whole wheat products, especially temporarily, just to make sure that you get your system all well again. Gluten, individuals may be gluten intolerant and have issues. And the wheat products of today tends to increase your LDL level, that's your low density lipoprotein. That's the one that you don't want to see high, but the wheat can elevate that LDL and cause problems. So wheat, rye, barley, spelt, the flour of those, the pasta of those can cause issues. So just leave them off, see how you're doing, and you can always go back to it later on once you're healed up, but it may be something to consider. And what I'll also do, the individuals have high blood pressure, but they have other issues. So you have to look across the board and see what are some of the foods that might be impacting you. Because if it's impacting your blood pressure, it will also impact you in other ways. Okay, I'm looking at the time. All right, let me just go through this one. There's something called tyramine, and tyramine, it comes from the amino acid tyrosine that tends to break down protein, and tyramine will stimulate and cause your blood pressure to be elevated, especially if you have too much tyramine intake. And tyramine will sort of it will cause our adrenal glands to produce more of these hormones that can increase the blood pressure, like norepinephrine, epinephrine, serotonin, and so forth, which is a neurotransmitter for our brain. All of these tends to be released, but when you have excessive amounts of tyramine, that's a problem. Tyramine is found in foods, but it is high in aged, fermented, and spoiled food. So just think for a moment. Your food, is it fermented? Is it aged? And is it spoiled? So meat, for example, most times it's cut and put on the shelf and it's frozen and it's there for a very long time. What about your tin corned beef or your salmon or your tuna, fish and so forth, your sardines in this tin, put away for a very long time? So they can have tyramine that when you eat it, it increases your levels. Pork, cheese is so aged, chocolate, caffeine teas, alcoholic beverages, or overripe food, overripe fruits such as avocados, bananas, breadfruit, they're overripe. They will cause elevated blood pressure. So any food item, they're aged, they're spoiled, they're fermented, they're overripe. It's broken down by enzymes so many times and on its way out. We gotta watch that. When you have, for example, look, these things are like overripe and they're too much, excessive amounts of tyramine, and if individuals more so are on any antidepressant, be it from conventional medicine, your SSRIs, or if it is that you have certain antidepressant or certain herbs such as turmeric, kava, caraway, celery, dill, fennel, all of these have certain compounds in them when combined with these spoiled food, tend to increase your blood pressure. So just something to note that you may go into a hypertensive crisis and have to be rushed to the emergency room. That's why to eat healthfully, eating our food in a good, healthful state is important. There's just this nice little quotation that I want to end off with. It says, nicely prepared vegetables and fruits in their season will be beneficial if they are of the best quality, not showing the slightest sign of decay, but are sound and unaffected by any disease or decay. So let's make sure our food is wholesome. If there's any big blotch of a rot spot on it, it's broken down and it's fermented. It's going to cause issues. Sometimes you might try to eat it and your belly gets so disturbed, you get diarrhea. It's not healthy. So we want to make sure what you're putting in, good, wholesome, healthy food will give you good, wholesome, healthy blood. That's important. And many die from eating decayed fruit and decayed vegetables, which ferment in the stomach and can lead to stomach cancer, stomach ulcers, and so on, and result in blood poisoning than they have any idea of. And so let's eat our foods, our drinks, everything that it's not spoiled. Sometimes you open a bottle, you've had some drink, it's been there for so long, and when you open it, it goes push. It's the gas formation in there. The thing is out, and yet we tend to want to consume it. No, no, no. Let's not. It's better to throw away these things. We're not a garbage can and be able to live healthfully. All right, so we'd pause right here and be able to just pick up the next time. I want to give you a recipe for the week. Let's see our recipe for the week. And it is a nice lentil roast. Doesn't that look yummy? And so you can have cornmeal or any grain. You can have rice, cooked quinoa, any of those things. And so it's 4.5 cups of cornmeal, 3 cups of cooked lentils, your choice of lentil, be it green or brown, 2 cups of soy milk that is unsweetened. It could be almond unsweetened milk as well. You can make your own milk and sweeten that. And 1.5 cups of sunflower seeds, and you blend that so you get the ground sunflower seed to put in there. You can also have 1.5 cups of onion that's been chopped up finely. Pass it through the food processor. It's also fine. And 1.5 teaspoon of some seasoning. Could be Italian seasoning or sage. And 1.5 teaspoon of salt, pink Himalayan sea salt. And 1 teaspoon of garlic that you finely chopped up. And you mince it up like this, mix that all together in a bowl. If you preheat the oven 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and you add all the ingredients in a big bowl, and if it's too watery because of too much milk, you add a little bit more cornmeal. You can add other kinds of grains to this. Make sure you taste it. It's tasty. You have simply onion, garlic, and salt in here, and Italian seasoning maybe. And then you continue you mix it all up. It looks nice. And you put it in a baking tray and a baking dish, and you let it cook for 1 hour, 350 degrees for about an hour. Get a knife, stick it through. Once the knife comes through clean, it's ready and it's good. Let it cool properly before you aim to cut, and it should be held nicely. So if you don't have cornmeal, you can use oats as well. That helps to bind. Oats tend to pull things really tight, and depending on what flavors you put in will help with the taste. But taste the finished product to make sure it tastes good before you proceed to baking it. All right, so here is our Bible promise for this week. 2 Samuel 22, verse 3, the Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer. This is a promise that we can claim. And Psalm 30, verse 2 and 3, Lord my God, I called to you for help and you healed me. You, Lord, brought me up from the realm of the dead. You spared me from going down to the pit. So if we call upon the Lord for help, he's going to hear you and he's going to heal you, is his promise. Even from your high blood pressure, from your high glucose levels, your cholesterol is high, that's so easy to come down, but you may have additional issues going on with your heart. And let's go to the Lord in prayer, making the changes as we can, and go to him in prayer. You brought me up from the realm of the dead. You spare me from going down. So let us have a word of prayer, and then we'll have our announcement and Q&A. Heavenly Father, we want to give you thanks for our discussion this evening and for the information looking at the impact of food and what can contribute to elevating our blood pressure. Some of this we may have known and others might be new to some. And we pray to God that you grant us the strength to make changes where it need to be so that we can be free from these diseases that has come upon mankind, and that your name will be glorified in all things. This is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. This by way of announcement at the center, we have coming up, for those of you who are in Trinidad and Tobago, our staycation for Carnival weekend, getting away from the city and the hustle and bustle and spending some time with us in a healthy way and environment. It's going to be quite exciting and fun and relaxing at the same time. So this is something you can consider and take advantage of. And then we do have coming up our health retreat. Oh my, the date is missing in this. The health retreat, it's March 7th, March 9th to 27th. So anywhere in there, you can take up that for the 11 or 18 day stay. So March 9th to 27th will be our upcoming dates for our next sessions. And we have some other dates on our website, drnatalienash.com. So now it's time for our Q&A. We're inviting you to share your questions, raise your hand, put your questions in your chat. I'm just going to put in the chat our contact details. And remember that this session has been recorded and will be posted on our YouTube channel. Putting the YouTube link here now, and subscribe so that you see all new postings as we progress. I think I see some thing in the chat here. We do have a question from the presentation this evening. Yep, can we use oat milk? Yes, definitely you can use oat milk, even in the lentil roast. I hope you go try that lentil roast, and it'd be quite delicious. And then you have to make a sauce to go with it. So there's some nice sauces. You know, you can really, I just like take about a teaspoon or two of tomato sauce, tomato paste, tomato sauce, and put that in a bowl. And you just add your seasoning, put a little water to it, and you put your salt, you put your onion, your garlic. You can blend up those together and put that together and see what flavor you get. You can use paprika in that tomato paste. So salt, paprika, you can have your bell peppers in there and really see that. Very good. The recipe, okay, you want to see that again? Let's pull it up. So here we have it, the lentil roast. Take a snapshot, and I'm going to put it in the WhatsApp chat, and even for the YouTube, for this presentation in the description, we're going to put it there as well. Okay, so someone is asking, what should I? Okay, so
Lentil roast.
Yeah, it's gonna be in the WhatsApp group.
Oh my goodness.
okay,
Dr. Nash,
yes,
are you talking?
yeah, no, you want
I
to say something?
Yes, I just wanted to share with this roast. I made this before, and I made it with the oats, the old-fashioned oats, and it came out so nice.
Okay.
Instead of the cornmeal, it's finger looking good with the oatmeal.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So we can just change all this, put in cornmeal in there as well. Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. And so the recipe, it's super delicious. All right, so let me see the chat. There was a question. And oh, the sauce, it's tomato paste, and then you season it to your liking. You can put lemon juice. So tomato paste, a little bit of lemon juice, paprika, and your onion powder, garlic powder, salt, and
That's it?
and
I don't know, Sam, what else you need? I'm gonna bring the
okay. All right, so tomato paste on some lemon, not too much. You don't want it too sour. And you add some water. So not too much tomato paste either, because it can be quite salty or sour. And you flavor that up with your seasonings. Now, okay, trying to get the chat question. what can you do or what can you try to sleep through from getting up every hour and a half to pass water? Okay, so number one is to understand if your call for going to the bathroom and to pass water frequently is a symptom of an underlying situation. And many times it's that, a symptom of an underlying condition. So for example, if your blood pressure is high, you will go to the bathroom frequently. I've seen that here at the center. Individuals with a high blood pressure, their blood pressure is really high, like 180s and above for the systolic. And that night, the person will go to the bathroom several times, urinating frequently, and even in the day. And when we give them things, to bring that blood pressure down, teas and so forth, everything is like good. Sleep through the night, not waking up so regularly. So a high blood pressure, we see the body is trying to flush. Even same thing with high glucose levels. The body is trying to flush that sugar. The body is not in a good equilibrium, and so you can get excess amounts of urinating. You may have also incomplete urination. So you go to void, you go to urinate, but you're not voiding completely. There remaining some within the bladder. And so you soon have to go back again. So if that's you, you sit on a toilet, you urinate, you can stand up, straighten up, and sit back again, and you may get more. You may lean forward, sort of putting some pressure in that bladder and help to squeeze out a little bit more. Watch when you're drinking fluids late in the evening. And when you're doing, if you're drinking fluids late in the evening, no, it's going to wake you up many times. So drink during the day, and by about 7, start to really just a sip or two, not drinking down much, and see what's going on. It may be that you have an enlarged prostate gland and it's squeezing on the urethra, and so that is not getting to pass much urine through, and that could be your problem for you're not voiding enough and sufficiently. So there are many underlying causes. There may be some structural problem. Then it might be a UTI. So what is the cause that's driving this? And then that can help you for waking up ever so often to pass water. I've seen even for men, prostate being inflamed. So inflammation in the prostate can cause it too. So then if that's corrected, then you should sleep better through the night. You mentioned that everything that stimulates elevates. Is that the same for cayenne pepper? Cayenne pepper tends to give you a burn initially, and then that's it. It goes away. But the other types of peppers can linger with you. The other types of peppers can actually cause sort of irritation to your whole digestive system. And then that gets out into your bloodstream because it's continuously hot. Individuals would even attest that it goes in hot and it comes out through the back way hot. But cayenne pepper doesn't do that, especially if it's not cooked and heated. Once it's cooked and heated, it can cause more impact on your system. But if it's simply just mixed in water and you drink. Now, cayenne pepper is not an all cure-all, so don't think that you have to use it religiously every day. There are so many other things that you can use. Even if you wanted to thin your blood, you can do garlic. And hopefully by next week, we get to show you, I have a recipe, how to make garlic water to reduce your blood pressure as well as to get rid of bacteria in your system and so forth. Garlic, but as you know, whenever you have garlic, you cut your garlic, you leave it, let it rest for about 15-20 minutes before you begin to work with it and incorporate it in your food or for your tea. In that way, it tends to enhance the allicin, which has the medicinal value that you're looking for. What about using turmeric instead of black pepper? It's stated that black pepper aids in its usage. For turmeric and its absorption, pepperine, black pepper, you know, they've scientifically looked and saw that it can help to make the absorption better in the body for turmeric. However, it need not be. You do have some turmeric capsules, and if you ingested that, it sort of bypasses the gastric chambers in your stomach region and doesn't give you the kind of irritation as if you took that black pepper on your food and you ate that, or in your turmeric tea and you drank that. However, black pepper is not the only thing. You can use ginger as a catalyst to help with getting your turmeric to be absorbed well within the body. So ginger is one that can be used. Your turmeric and garlic can also work at the same time and can give you some synergies there for good absorption. But black pepper is not the only one. Black pepper is not something that we'd recommend because that is a stomach irritant. Black pepper, white pepper definitely irritates the stomach and give you digestive problems, the bloating, the gas, and you feel like you don't have control over your digestive issues, and then you need to fix that very quickly. Okay, I don't see any more questions in the chat. No more questions. All right, well, if no more, thank you so much for attending this evening. I hope that the information has been beneficial to you, and in that way, you would have been blessed, and do share.
Dr. Nash,
Yes.
I did put my question and I don't see that you responded. So
Oh,
I don't know if maybe I need to be a part of a link or something, or
no, thank you. That's really good. I'm glad that you highlighted, because now I look up again and I'm seeing it and I will read the question out. I had a brain aneurysm ruptured due to high blood pressure. Should I look to stop the pharmaceutical meds and to natural? Okay, so once you've had such a situation, they want to monitor you for a very long time to make sure that you're not at risk of getting something similar, and a repeated episode of that. And so, should you stop the pharmaceutical medication? Now, question, is the blood pressure high? If you could respond, let us know. Is the blood pressure continuously high?
sorry, I'm driving and it connected to the car. It doesn't go much over the 135, 140 over 85, 90, the highest. That's when it's at the highest. Yes.
Okay. All right. Good. So what we want to see is that pressure come down within normal range again. And granted that there might have been things that you were doing that cause aneurysm in the first place. Now, if we seek to correct that, then your risk will be reduced. And you would also, see that blood pressure coming down. So for example, we talked about the foods, and let's turn off that disease condition with our diet and all of the animal foods and their byproducts that's not designed for us, man, from beginning of time. Those foods need to be removed, and some others as we have identified. So once we remove them, your chance of improving, or rather not a chance, but the result of that will definitely bring your blood pressure down. Now, it will take a while because in the, last week's presentation, when we talked about the plaque formation within the arteries, I explained that that can take a while to be removed. So as long as you have plaque formation within your arteries, your blood pressure will still be elevated, and it will take a couple months for that to clear away, break down. You're using your garlic, you're using your lemon water, you're using olives, you're using your cruciferous family of foods, your green leafy vegetables, and so forth. You're using your tomatoes, all of these that would help to get rid of those plaque deposits and free up the arteries. The blood will flow through quite easily without resistance. Your blood pressure will be within normal range. So when that happens, and you keep logging, measure the blood pressure early morning as you wake up and before bedtime, rest, relax 5 minutes before you test. And when you do that, you log it in your book, and your doctor will see the trend of reduction coming. And any physician should be so elated to support you to see that you're coming down. So the goal is to get back within normal range. And that once that happens, then talk to them about reducing your blood pressure medication. As a matter of fact, if your values and numbers are reducing, then you find that for you to even take the blood pressure medication, it's going to drop it too low. And when that happens, there would be no need for the blood pressure medication. We do not take you off. Now, there are herbal agents that can support, that's complementary, that will not cause any adverse reactions if you were to take them. And we'll show you some of those herbs that you would be able to use safely along with your meds. Just know that garlic can go on in there as well. Your turmeric is also one of them. Your bay leaf, your soursop leaf, and drinking those as teas can be quite helpful. Okay, can one have...
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Can one have plaque buildup in the arteries without the blood pressure being high? The form, yeah, if it's the early stage of the plaque deposits, if it's a very early stage of plaque deposits, it's possible. It is possible. But eventually it will get to that point where you start having a buildup and it's going to be a problem. And the blood pressure will be elevated and many other things. Your eyes would be impacted, your legs. Folks talk about having weak legs. Sometimes it's because of these plaque formations in the arteries to service the legs, and the legs aren't getting adequate amounts of blood supply. So there are many areas that can be impacted. My blood pressure is okay, but my heart rate is 80 and over 90 most times. Okay, how can I get that down? Let's see what have a conversation with your physician. I hope you're doing that already to see how they can actually lower that heart rate. Let's look at what can be triggering that. Are you stressed? Do you have any anxiety issues going on? Let's look at the health of the kidneys and the adrenal glands. And so using something like ashwagandha, that's quite mild and safe for so managing and reducing your adrenal gland activity, and see how that is working for your heart rate. And you can also use like CoQ10. Sometimes CoQ10 deficiencies can cause these issues. And you can also use hawthorn berries. Hawthorn berries just get a bottle of that and use it as directed on the bottle, and that can help as well. So hawthorn berries could be a good option.
Good night, Dr. Nash.
Hello, good
Uh,
evening.
Yes, lovely program. I'm a first timer. My
Oh,
question is, could medication cause you to urinate frequently? Is it
yes,
possible?
if it is a side effect. So take
Okay.
your medication, type it up on the internet, the name of your med and side effects, and look through for the listing of side effects. So AI is going to pick up quite a number for you, but look at one or two sites, and you may see variations or highlights of different types of side effects. I used to like to go to WebMD, but it's really difficult to find a full listing of the side effects of the meds, but type the name of the med even, and that would show you what the side effects are. In our first presentation on this, we had a number. Sometimes they're like 80 or more. I've counted one time 82 for lepito.
Yeah, because I recognize that I take a medication for hypertension. When I did the first time I look up the side effects, I didn't realize that it talks about the kidney, that this medication could interfere with the kidney.
Yes.
And I'm thinking to myself, but then you're trying to kill me because I'm trying to. I try to get my blood pressure down, but then there's a side effect where the kidney is concerned. You know,
Definitely.
I read all the other side effects and I have a problem, but when you're talking about the kidney, then I have a challenge, you know. And so hence the reason why I had the question, because I noticed, you know, when I started taking medication, I'm passing water frequently more than I normally would if I don't take it. You know, so hence the reason for the question. Yeah. Okay. Thanks a
Yes.
lot.
You're welcome. And so like the hydrochlorothiazide, for example, is quote unquote what they call the water pill. And that would cause excretion of water, elimination of water from the body. That's used to lower the blood pressure. So the concept is that my pressure is high. If I drop the blood volumes, then my blood pressure will come down. Let's do that with excreting the water within the system. So the body literally pulls. The kidney now is overworked, and that would account for its poor function over time. So every 3 months, you would see they will ask you to do some blood work, and let's check your kidneys, let's check your liver, depending. And see, depending on the medication, which organ might be impacted. And I have had clients where they were on medication, amlodipine, and that directly, client after client, at one time I saw like about 3 consecutively coming, and they did have kidney issues that were known. And by the time the second and the third one came, I was telling both of them, I said, go back to your doctor and talk to them about changing your medication because it's already impacting your kidneys. And as a patient, you need to advocate for yourself and ask questions and, you know, and ask for change, for different solutions, because you're taking interest in you. Many times folks go through, especially in the public health system, that's just like a crowd of individuals that they have to deal with day after day. And so they're just going to see you for a little 5-10 minutes and you're out, and it's patient next. So for them to really look at you holistically and look at trends and all of that, they may not be seeing that. So you really have to talk up for yourself and ask questions.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so someone is asking, which form of magnesium would you recommend for high blood pressure? We have magnesium citrate, can be good. I like magnesium glycinate. That tends to be quite calming, and it can also help with sleep. And at the same time, if you got more sleep, then you got more rest, and your blood pressure could be better for you the next day. So magnesium glycinate, glycinate. Now, how often should the hawthorn berry be taken as a tea? During the day. So as a tea, you would use 1 teaspoon per cup, and you want 3 cups in a day to drink. 3 cups of tea of hawthorn berries. So 1 teaspoon per cup, and if you did the capsules, it will ask you to take maybe 2 capsules 3 times a day. And that's how it goes. All right. So any more questions? All right. Okay. So thank you very much for your participation. At our next session, we're going to be looking at just completing on the diet. Now, we talked about what to avoid in our diet, but we're going to look at what you can put in, what you can eat for. I'll tell you one tip. If you're not using flaxseed yet, now is a great time to start doing so. It's omega-3 fatty acids. And your flaxseed need to be broken. So you want that ground flaxseed. And if you break you blend it, put it in a coffee grinder and blend your flaxseed. So you break it to get the medicinal value. And with that, you're able to scoop out 2 tablespoons of the flaxseed and put that on your food in a day. So you don't want too many times in a day, just 2 tablespoons, adequate amount, giving you omega-3 fatty acids. That tends to help to clear that plaque deposits from your arteries, reduce inflammation, and that's the benefit, clearing the arteries, and lowering the blood pressure. And so that flaxseed is important. You can do chia seeds as well. And you can also use walnuts. 4 walnuts will be a serving size for your omega-3 fatty acids within a day. So just a little pointer that you do. Okay, someone is asking about hawthorn berry extract. Okay, so great, you're seeing that as there is hawthorn berry extract in a capsule form. If that's the case, then you use it according to the directions given on the bottle. And so just follow the directions. If it's the extract in the dropper extract, 1 serving size could be about 15 drops. And you may need to do that like about 3 times in the day. 3 times a day. So if it's the extract as in liquid, 15 drops would do. Nice. All right, so thank you everyone again for your participation and attendance today.